I think I've lost my goddamn mind. Everything was fine until I walked out of work this afternoon. Dan, my cube mate, and I were walking out of the building to talk about our plans for the weekend. We'd been pulling overtime, one of our clients being more needed than usual, and we'd agreed that lots of drinking was the only sensible plan for the weekend. As I stepped outside though, I had to double check if I was drunk already. There was a huge person in the sky. At least, it looks like a person. The general shape of it was humanoid, but it towered over the horizon, almost like it was actually out in space, just floating over the world. I stopped dead in my tracks. Dan looked back when he realised I wasn't beside him anymore, and saw me staring up at the sky with a look of horror. "You alright?" he asked, looking concerned. "You see that, don't you?" I stammered out, still not believing what I was seeing. "See what, man?" "There's only a few clouds, but it doesn't look like any rain's coming this way." "No. Person. There's a huge person up there on the horizon. You seriously don't see it?" I couldn't fathom how he couldn't see it. It was almost blocking out the sun, and a big toothy grin on its face, just surveying the world. "You been sleeping okay? I think all this overtime is stretching you thin." Dan looked worried. I know I sounded insane. Yeah, probably just staring at that monitor all day. Got my mind going crazy. I dropped the subject and kept going. As I got in my car, I looked back over to where the thing was. It was still there, now staring off upwards, and whatever the sky was above it. "I'll see you on Monday. I'm just gonna go get some sleep," I shouted out the window as I started the engine. The thing hovered there as I went through the rush hour traffic to get back home. All the stop and go gave me time to really get a look at it. It looked more and more uncanny as time went on. Instead of two eyes, it had multiple. The entire top of its face was covered in eyes, some small, some huge. There was no nose, just what looked like a slit running down half its face until it came to the mouth. The mouth was the terrifying part. It was wide open, almost slack-jawed, and full of teeth. I don't mean like a big toothy smile, like some kid who had just gotten his first adult teeth and wanted to show them off. This thing had rows of teeth. It looked like a shark, almost with row after row of sharp pointed teeth. They were around its entire mouth, not just top and bottom. It had teeth on all sides, like a fucking garble disposal for small plates. The damn thing was so huge, I could almost see it from the chest up. The rest had disappeared over the horizon. I finally got home, and night had fallen, but the giant hadn't shifted at all. By this time, I'm creeped the hell out. I decided I'm gonna go inside, close the curtains, and go the fuck to sleep. I'm just tired, right? This is all going to be gone in the morning. I take one of my sleeping pills, and I'm out in half an hour. The only thing I remember about my dream that night is that the thing in the sky was picking up people and dropping them into its mouth. They were so far away, but I could still hear their screams as they were slashed to bits on the teeth. I woke up the next morning and opened my window, bracing myself to see a creature towering above the city outside. To my relief, it wasn't there. I can't tell you how relieved I was. Last thing I need is a psychotic break to put me out of my commission. It was a Saturday, and my first day off in almost 2 weeks. I made some breakfast and decided to go out and browse around the library for something new to read. As I stepped out of my house and got into my car, I looked out above the house. The bedroom window faced my driveway, and I didn't think to look out at any other windows before I stepped out of the house. It was still there. It just shifted to the other side of the earth. Maybe the earth had just rotated to the point where it was in a different position. It stood there, same expression on its face as last night. I saw a plane fly by in the sky, barely brushing the shoulder of the creature. It moved one of its many eyes to look at the plane. A different eye focused on it as it moved by the creature. With one swift move, it bent over and crushed down on the plane. There was a small plume of smoke and a flash of fire. Then it was gone. I couldn't believe my eyes. How many people were on there? How many people just lost their family members to that thing? I had to do something, so I called 911. "Operator, what's your emergency?" a woman's polite voice, yet urgent. An aeroplane just blew up in the sky. It's a giant creature up there. It looks almost like a person, but it just ate a fucking plane. Sir, I'm going to need you to please calm down. Now you said a plane exploded? Yes. Not really exploded, it was more eaten. The thing in the sky leaned over and swallowed it. Sir, this line is for emergency only. You know that faking an emergency call is a crime, right? I'm not fucking faking. Those people on the plane are dead. Do you not care about that? Sir, I'm going to disconnect the line. Please only call us if there's a real emergency. The line went dead. Fuck. What do I do? Dan couldn't see it yesterday, and the emergency operator obviously hadn't heard anything about it. I looked back up at the thing on the horizon. It had turned and was facing my direction now. As I stared at it, looked down towards the ground. Every single eye in its face looked right at me. I know it sounds crazy, but I can tell from that distance, but I knew it was looking at me. It could somehow sense I realised this, because the grin on its face got even wider. I don't know how long I sat there screaming. All I know is the next thing I knew, there were two guys in suits outside my car window. One was knocking on the glass, while the other had his gun drawn. Please step out the car and come with us, sir, the man knocking on the glass said. The other one lowered his gun slightly and gave me a look as to say that it was okay. We don't want to use force, but we have been authorized to do so if you do not comply. What the fuck is going on? I said as I operated my door. Who the hell are you? Can you see the fucking thing? No, sir, we cannot. However, we can take someone who has answers for you. The things you see are real. The one with the gun looked concerned, almost like he was sorry for me. The other guy just acted like he wanted to be done with it all. Fine. As long as I know I'm not crazy, I walked over to the car with them. One opened the back door and motioned for me to get in. We drove for what seemed like hours. I knew we were a good ways outside the city by the time we pulled up to a small shack off a dirt road. I looked up at the horizon and got out the car. Over the tops of the trees I could barely see the top of the giant's head. One of the eyes on top was still looking right at me. Follow us, please, said one of the men. So you're going to murder me now, right? I quipped. I was losing my shit, but trying to remain a facade. We're not in the business of murdering, sir. Quite the opposite, actually. As I walked into the small shack, I realised it wasn't small at all. Passing the door, there was a panel on the wall. This was just an elevator. The agent stood in front of me in the lift. As one hit the button slowly, we descended down into the depths. When the lift stopped and the door opened, there was a small room with a desk set up next to the wall, and a door leading out onto the left. An older man was sitting beside the desk, reclined back in a chair that looked like it would tip any second. Sir, really cognizant in question, one of the men said. The man in the chair almost fell back in surprise, and sat forward and looked at me. Yes, please come in. Have a seat. How are you doing today? He asked. I've been better. I'm pretty sure none of this is real, though. I looked around trying to think of how I could get out if I needed to. It felt good, though. Almost relieving that I couldn't see that thing looking at me. I can assure you, this is all real. You're very much awake, and that creature in the sky is as real as you and I are. The man smiled at me, as if we were just talking about something as simple as the weather, not a death giant in the sky. You mean I'm not crazy? You can see that thing too? I asked in disbelief. I still couldn't fully grasp what was happening. If I'm not crazy, then what the hell is going on? Not crazy, I promise. I personally cannot see that creature. I do know a few of us that can, though. I'm honestly surprised he slipped under our radar for this long. We usually catch you guys much earlier in life. You guys? What the fuck is going on? Will you just stop being so cryptic and tell me what the fuck I'm doing? I'm not crazy. I was just getting tired of all this runaround. There's something really messed up going on, and this guy is treating it like a fucking Sunday brunch. Well, I can explain everything to you. But first, I think you better have a seat. Would you like some coffee? It's quite a long story. I sat down in front of him and listened as he laid everything out. I sat down across from the old man at the table, not knowing what to expect. What had my life become in the last couple of days? Where are my manners? My name is Ronald. Pleased to meet you. The man extended his hand to me. I took it, hesitatingly. He had a firm grip and shook my hand as if he was an old friend. So are you going to tell me why life has gotten so crazy in the past day? I asked him. Yes, that's going to be quite a story. So you've seen our ocularly blessed friend outside? I thought you said you haven't seen him. How do you know what he looks like? I told you. I have friends that can. One of them is quite the gifted artist. At this, he pulled a paper from the desk drawer. On it was a near-perfect sketch of the creature I had been seeing. Just the thought of it sent a shiver down my spine. Now, as I've said, you're not the only one of your kind running around there. About 1% of the Earth's population can see these things. We call them aberrations. They pop up every so often, and our job is to take care of them before they cause any major damage. This one's already ate a fucking plane. How do you not stop that sooner? Now I was getting angry. If they knew these things are coming, how did they not take care of it sooner? It had been there almost an entire day before it took out the plane from the sky. Yes, well, that one is going to weigh on us for a while. Thing is, we've never seen one this large. Usually the aberrations that appear are much smaller. Think the typical Hollywood monster movie. That's the scale we're used to dealing with. The thing though, he's big. Bigger than we're used to. We haven't quite come up with a plan to take him out yet. Him? How do you know it's a him? What do you mean there are more of them? My head was beginning to hurt. This was all too much to take in. Oh, you can tell it's a him. If you get close enough to where he's positioned. Trust me, he chuckled. Was this all normal? You could joke about it. So what do you mean there are more? How have people not heard about these things by now? We're very good at our jobs, usually anyway. There is typically some collateral damage from the larger ones, but most are small and can be taken care of with little notice from the outside world. I guarantee you've heard about some of the larger ones. Chernobyl, the San Francisco earthquake, the LA riots, were quite nasty. This one had a profound effect on the surrounding population. So why am I just now seeing this? How come I haven't heard about it before? My head was really pounding now. Fucking hell, I'm 26 years old. I would have noticed these monsters by now. It seems this is just the first one, both large enough and near enough to catch your attention. No other explanation I can think of, really. Like I said, they're usually much smaller than what we're dealing with now. But you said that you can take care of these things. Like, you make sure they don't cause too much damage, and you kill them. I didn't give a shit what he told me at this point. I just wanted to know if we could get rid of this thing, so I could stop staring at me. I could still feel its gaze even though we were underground. Well, we can't necessarily kill them, but we can send them back where they came from. You see, the aberrations are from Earth, just not our Earth. On occasions, walls between our dimensions tear. So to speak, this allows these things to slip and cause havoc. Thing is, we never know what to expect, because there's so many different variables. So you're telling me that a giant fuck in the sky is from Dimension X or something? This was a lot to take in one day. Holy crap, I need a nap. The one outside is actually from Dimension 4269. The first one we encountered from that dimension. Seems like quite the nasty place from one of our colleagues told us. One of the others like me? I asked. All this aberration stuff was interesting, but I want to know who else can see these things. Someone I can talk to that actually knows how fucking insane all of this is. Yes, we currently have 3 others working with us. You'll get to meet them soon enough, if you choose to join us. Depends what the pay is like, and is there health insurance? Quit back at him. All intents is not some vague offers and sci-fi names. I'm sure you're being sarcastic, but yes, we do offer a hefty pay. Dental coverage too, if that interests you. Anyway, Time is somewhat of the essence here. Someone who possesses the ability to see an aberration, with some of your honing ability, you can eventually see into the other dimensions as well if you take a job with us. So we're special then. Very, as I said. Only about 1% of the population has this ability. Most of them go mad from it at a younger age. It frequently gets miscounted as a myriad of mental illness, and sometimes what they see is so horrible it just breaks them outright. There have been quite a few that put their abilities to good use for personal gain though. And you want to recruit me? You would like your assistance, yes. If you had more on hand, we can find other aberrations quicker. Have you all in different locations keeping an eye on things. We will do the heavy lifting when it comes to getting rid of the ones that appear. We just need you to be our canary, so to speak. Doesn't sound like a dangerous job. I still wasn't sure. I keep expecting to wake up any second and have this all be a dream. But the cold air in the room, feeling like the aberration's gaze shooting through the ground, made it all too real. I must warn you, you'll see some horrible things. Creatures that look like us, but can tear through you with a snap of their fingers. Nightmares. Creatures much uglier than our friend in the sky. This will drain you. His tone was much more serious now. We were reaching the end. Look, if I can get that giant asshole up there to go away, I'll do whatever I can. Besides, this might actually be a nice change of pace. Keep a lookout for any weird happenings and get paid for it. Sounds good to me. Very well. Our agents here will escort you back home. Here's the card for my number. Please keep an eye on your friend up there for now and study him. There's a tall order for your first case, but I guarantee you will learn quite a bit from it. You'll also be subject to regular psychiatric evaluations. We will contact you when we get everything processed. So I'm a monster hunter now? More of a monster surveyor, if you will. I got up and followed the agents back to the elevator up to the surface. When we stepped out of the shack, Big Guy was still there, watching me. All of his eyes followed me as I walked over to the car. They kept following us as they drove me back home. Things were going to get very interested. I didn't realise just how much more awful the aberrations could be. Things got, well, awful, to be honest. Bright side is, the big guy's gone. No idea how they do it, but he was sent back to whatever hellhole he came from. Ronald tried to explain it to me, but it was really just a bunch of babble, quantum physics, and all that shit. Now though, I'll take the big eyes in the sky any day over the things I've seen and learned over these past few days. I've met the other guys, and they told me some of what I should expect out of this, and gave me some files about past aberrations and some of the ones they've seen for themselves. Turns out some pretty famous people were like this. Lovecraft, all that shit he wrote about was from personal experience. Turns out there really is another dimension beyond ours that's ruled by giant monsters called the Eldritch. Thankfully, none of these has passed through though. He just looked into their dimension. As for some of the worst events in history, also aberrations. The San Francisco fire was caused by aberration made of pure flame, coming through the rift one night. Chernobyl was a creature that fed on radiation. There's so much more, it's just all a lot to take in. As far as my own personal experience, I've been learning to look into the other worlds that are out there. Most actually aren't that bad. All is just like ours, but with slight differences. The others though, are few and far between, but they're made of some of the most terrifying shit I've ever seen. So things have been pretty quiet on our world until a week ago. Another thing that the administration provided me with is the satellite link, so I can view different areas of the world through satellite feeds and get access to almost any camera. I was watching a feed from Florida when I saw there was a hurricane forming off the coast. Looking further at one of the storm cams, I noticed there was something off in the water that seemed big. That's putting it simply. When the lightning flashed in the middle of the storm, I saw it. It was a giant, not quite as big as eyes, but at least big enough to level a small city. It looked like it was in the centre of the storm. I zoomed in, hoping to get a better look. It looked to be made of pure darkness, with tendrils popping out in every direction. I saw a storm chaser plane flying close to it, and my stomach fell out. One of the tendrils snapped like lightning, piercing straight through the plane. It went down into the water. I picked up my phone and dialed Ronald's number. We have a problem off the coast of Florida. Creature in the middle of a giant hurricane. Looks like a giant black hole, but it took a storm chaser plane down. We're on it, he said. There's something you should know, though. The other three have been noticing much heavier activity in the last few days. There seems to be an increase in aberrations. Great. Just what I fucking need, I said, sighing. Will you guys just be able to take care of this thing? If it's in Florida, that's one state too close to me. We're stretched a little thin at the moment, but it will be taken care of, he said. The line went dead then. Guess there wasn't much time for talk. I decided to see what he meant by heavy activity. I pulled up the log while we all recorded our findings. There'd been a lot more entries in the past 3 days, in the past 2 weeks combined. This wasn't good. I scrolled through, seeing some of what we were dealing with. Victoria had apparently seen a massive ram with 8 horns storming through the hills in Scotland. Greg caught a guy in the middle of Atlanta who was disintegrating anything he touched. All small things, thankfully. Nothing too big until this hurricane. I decided to turn in for the night. There wasn't much else to do at the moment, and nothing could be done about the hurricane. I'm sure they would have taken care of it by the morning. Everything went smoothly the next day. The hurricane was gone, the tendrils disappeared, seemed to be much slower. I actually managed to go a whole day without spotting anything. That night, I got woken up by my phone ringing. I thought that it was Ronald. I groggily answered it, still half asleep. Yeah, I said. Look outside, tell me what you see. Okay, let me put some pants on real quick. No time. Go now. He pressed. Shit, this must be bad. I walked downstairs and out my front door. It was bright. Way too bright to be early in this morning. What the hell? Oh fuck, I said, as I looked into the sky. This is bad. This is way worse than eyes. What is it? Ronald shouted through the phone. Tell me, goddammit. The whole sky is torn open. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I described everything to Ronald as I saw it. Up above me there was a tear running across the entire sky, though their hands were reaching through, clawing at the night. These were huge hands, each one at least the size of a car, with large claws and 7 fingers in each. As they clawed, the tear grew. Behind the massive hands, light was pouring through. The light was almost a pure red colour, like that of the sun close up. Ronald, I said, I think hell just opened up above us. Look, I need you to keep your shit together. We're working on closing this one, but we're still recovering from the last few aberrations. We have a team on the way to assess the situation. Keep an eye and make sure nothing else happens. You better hurry. The tearing gets even more as we speak. The hands multiplied more and more, reaching through it as the tear grew wider. I finally saw one of the creatures. The hands belonged to it as it fought way out through the mass. It looked, well, there's no good comparison to what it looked like. It was big, at least the size of a small skyscraper. Limbs were long, spindly, but looked muscled. It had a long torso with a slim lower half, and it steadily got wider as it reached the top where I'm guessing its lungs were. The heads were the worst part. It had 4 heads, at least I think they were all heads. One of them was just a giant mass of sharp teeth, black as space. One the giant glowing red orb. I realised with horror, this was where all the light was coming from. All these glowing orbs on each of the creatures. The other 2 heads worked in unison, large tentacles branching off from each, almost like they were feeding the area around them. It fell slowly to the ground. When it finally landed, I could see it standing up on the other side of town, towering over everything else in the area. It started moving, at first seeming to check out its surroundings, then slowly lowered the tentacled heads down and running them over the ground. I started to pick up a car and hold it in its teeth, and pointed it up to the orb. As I held it close, the car began melting. After it was softened, it lowered into the maw of teeth. I looked up at the tear, widening as more of its kind started clamouring at it. That's when I let out a sound that would haunt me, all until the day I die. It was like an explosion mixed with the screams of 1,000 dying people. As it roared, the clamouring at the tear became more frenzied. It finished and started walking my way. The creature is moving straight for me, every step bringing it at least 100 feet closer. The red orb, that was one of the heads glowing brighter as it came closer. It was like it could sense me. I jumped to my car and called Ronald. "You guys need to get a handle on this now," I screamed on the phone. "This thing is after me, and there are more like it coming down every second." "Shit," he said. "I have a team en route to you now. Just stay where you are." "I'm getting the fuck out here unless your team can be here with 2 minutes. The creature is huge and it knows where I am. It's going to be on top of me within at least 5 minutes. I already saw what gets you to a car. I'm not fond of that happening to me." "Okay. Do you have a list of safe houses with you?" he asked. "Yeah, I'm going to the closest one. It's only about 15 minutes away. Hopefully my car can outrun that thing." "Good. We'll be in touch." "I have to move. Quick." The thing was still stomping towards me. I could see light poles and cars crushed under its feet in the distance. The orb continued to get brighter. Above me, more continued to fall from the tear in the sky. It began to rain at that point. Wind howling. It still didn't faze the creature. Everyone else probably just thought it was some freak storm tearing everything down. I got in the car and squealed out of my driveway. The safe house was a few miles outside the town, in an abandoned convenience store off the highway. I had just to get there and push the code on the back door to take me a mile underground into the bunker. I got to the edge of the town, just a little over a mile to go, when one of those things fell from the sky right in front of me. I didn't see it coming until it was too late, but its front left foot landed on the right hood of my car. I got jolted forward and hit my head on the steering wheel. I was dazed. Everything blurred and I felt warm blood dripping from my forehead into my eyes. This is bad. This is really bad. I vaguely saw one of the tentacles wrap around what was left of my car and pick it up with me still in it. I had to act fast. I reached down and clipped my seatbelt, at the same time shoving the car door open. I rolled out of the car, was turned into and lifted into the air. God damn it. I've got to go. I rolled over and onto my feet. Everything hurt. I could feel my heart beating in my chest. I started trying to run, but god damn it hurt. I probably had a couple of broken ribs, maybe a concussion. I'm amazed I'm still able to walk. The creature let out a roar as it brought up the car to the orb. I assume it's an eye. The car started to melt as the howl of rage got louder. I looked up as it ran and saw more falling to the sky, even faster than before. They were coming down by the dozens now. My phone rang in my pocket. I was still trying to run from the monster, and right now it was right above me. Even if I survive this, I'm not sure if the world will. I dug my phone out as I continued running. "Little busy now. Tell me you have some good news. Where are you?" "The others have reports of these things falling near them as well," Ronald said. I could hear fear in his voice. "This might be where it all ends. Where are you now?" "I'm on the side of 17. One of those bastards dropped right in front of my car and wrecked it. I'm probably a mile out from the bunker." "Good. I have 2 agents a mile behind you. Find a safe place to hide until they get there, and they can take you the rest of the way." "I don't think you understand me right now. This thing is on the damn road. I don't think they'll get through." "They will. Just hide until then." He hung up for that. Shit. I don't even know how I'm supposed to hide. If they're a mile up the road, and hopefully that means 3 minutes max, now isn't the time for them to be careful drivers. My best bet right now is to just run and dodge until I get there. The orb swerved around, and I swear it looked at me, right at me. The head, until with the mouth, moved down towards me, extending to the neck, and it came down toward me, almost bending completely backwards to reach where I was underneath it. While it was doing that, one of the tentacles' heads reached around from the side, like it was trying to close me in. Fuck. This is bad. This is really bad. Close my eyes and hope for time to just stop right there. For the tear to disappear and this damn thing to vanish. I had a flash of 3D it came from. The landscape was levelled. Where buildings once stood, there was now just ruins. These things overran the land, devouring anything they could find. They seemed to move off some kind of hive mind, all going towards the same goal. They were hungry, and we were the next buffet. I snapped out of it, and faced down the moor in front of me. I couldn't run to the right because of the tentacles. The highway barrier was now on my left. Nowhere to go but behind me, and even then I didn't know how fast those teeth would move. I had to do something. I closed my eyes, correcting myself for whatever was about to happen. Then I opened the self and I almost gasped. The creature was gone, disappeared into thin air. In front of me was one of the agents who picked me up from the diary. I saw the big guy. He was holding some device, some sort of like projector. "Get in," he said, nodding back towards the car. I didn't question it, but ran over and got into the back seat. "Is that how you guys get rid of the aberrations?" I asked. "Yes and no. Just one of these can work for a smaller scale aberration. Still no clue how we're going to fix the tear though. Our number one priority is getting you to safety and treating your wounds." We drove the rest of the way to the convenience store. I know I watched as more and more fell from the tear in the sky as we drove. There had to be hundreds by now. Who knows how widespread they could be. They parked outside and rushed me in. We took the elevator past the door, and I went down the mile to the bunker in almost 10 seconds. I swear, I almost hit the ceiling as it went down. We stepped out into the brightly lit room. All white walls with a couch and small kitchen on one side, and a bed on the other. Against the far wall was a ham radio and a small television. "Right, here. You're obviously pretty banged up. Take this for the pain and lay down. We'll keep you updated as things go on. One of us will be on duty constantly to monitor the situation," he said as he handed me a couple of pills. "How are you guys going to know what the fuck is going on if I'm not up there? Ronald is coming with a contingency plan, and we have the other guys keeping an eye on things. Just rest for now, and we'll take care of the big stuff. Priority for you is resting. Won't matter what you can see if you're fucking dead." I didn't like it, but I didn't have much of a choice. I took the pills and swallowed them, then laid down carefully on the bed. Now that adrenaline was wearing off, I felt every injury. Definitely broken ribs, possibly dislocated shoulder. There was a nice gash across my left leg too. The stuff they gave me was better than any doctor could prescribe though. I drifted off in no time. When I woke up, the other agent was sitting at a desk, talking over the radio. "What's going on?" I asked, sitting up way too quickly and feeling a sting in my chest. "Easy there," he said, looking over at me. "We have it all under control. Some of the guys in the tech department figured out how to close the tear. Now we're just rounding up all the ones that fell. You're going to stay down here for a few days while you recover." "How the hell?" I said. "There's no way. This looked like the fucking apocalypse. Still haven't managed to completely avoid it." "No promises. It's a permanent situation. So we're keeping an eye on everything. We have a camera array set up down here, so you can monitor and report as needed." I still couldn't believe it. There's no way this could have been done so quickly. That's when the ground started to shake. "What the fuck is that?" the agent shouted, looking towards the door. The hammer agent crackled. "Be alert. One of the strays is still after her. They are fixed above your bunker." Jesus. The goddamn thing's still trying to hunt us down even though we've been closed off from the rest. The ground shook again, and I heard a large, loud crash from behind the steel door that led to the elevator. "Fuck, that's bad," the agent said. He pulled up a camera on the TV, The satellite feed zoomed down on our location, showing a blaze beginning where the convenience store was. Now there was rubble. I knew we couldn't see it, but I could. One of the aberrations was above us, thrashing around at this door. It had found where the elevator shaft was and was battering it, trying to dig deeper. The noise we heard was the elevator car dropping the mile downwards. So now, it's a day later, I'm writing this all out. Some agents finally showed up, flashed one of those things to projector things at it, and it got to go away. I saw one of them get picked up by it first though. Picked it up with a tentacle and brought it close to the orb. I can still see the man's face as he looked up at the sky, clearly in the camera. I think he saw eternity. He was put into the morgue a moment later. A geezy of blood pouring out. That's when the aberration vanished, leaving only a rain of blood and rubble as the remainder it had been there. We're waiting for rescue now, but it's an iffy situation. Being a mile under Earth makes it bad, but the elevator crash made the structure unsound. You have to move carefully, and one wrong move could bring the whole place crashing down. This may be where it all ends. I'll keep looking for the aberrations, till either I die, or get the fuck out here. All of you should know, these things are coming into this world, and don't belong here. We narrowly avoided the apocalypse yesterday. There's no guarantee we'll be so lucky next time.